Today we discuss Bengal's Tryst with double-engine governance, a study of economic decline that brings to light that West Bengal's stagnation was not a natural occurrence, but the direct result of federal hostility and a deliberate strategy to drain the state's resources.
In 1947, Bengal was the industrial core of the subcontinent. It produced most of the world's jute and managed a maritime network that connected the East to the global market. If you compare the data from the first years of independence, the gap between regions is clear. West Bengal's per capita income was the highest in the nation, far outpacing the states that would later become its rivals. But by the 1970s, that growth had reversed. Factories grew quiet, unemployment climbed, and the region once known for its wealth was rebranded as India's problem state number one. How does a region with these natural advantages collapse so quickly? Usually, we look for local failures or natural economic shifts. However, looking at the evolution of the state's fiscal and industrial laws suggests a different trajectory. It reveals a series of specific policy choices that consistently decoupled the region from the wealth it produced. This pattern began under the British Empire, which viewed Bengal as the milch cow of its Indian administration. While the province generated large budget surpluses, those funds were consistently used to cover financial gaps in Bombay and Madras. The 1921 Meston settlement formalized this strain, letting the imperial center take the elastic, growing revenues from customs and jute. Bengal was left with rigid, slow-growing land taxes, yet had to fund the state's most expensive social departments. The result was a legal blockade. Bengal produced 80% of India's customs revenue alongside Bombay, but it was legally barred from using its own primary resources to fund its development. By the time of independence, the colonial administration had already perfected a mechanism to separate the province from the value it generated. When independence arrived in August 1947, the flags changed, but the underlying financial logic did not. On the night of independence, the central government reduced West Bengal's share of the jute export duty from 62% down to just 20%. This revenue, along with a significant cut to the state's income tax share, was redirected to other provinces. In 1956, the Freight Equalization Scheme added another layer to this shift. The center subsidized the transport of coal and steel from the east to the rest of the country, meaning a factory in Bombay could now buy Bengal's coal for the same price as a factory sitting right on the mines. This equalization only worked one way. The government did not subsidize the transport of Western India's resources, like cotton or oilseeds. While Western factories received cheap steel, the Eastern textile mills were forced to pay full price for raw materials. Licensing policies then favored specific clusters. Philips India, for example, was barred from expanding its Calcutta plant unless it exported 3/4 of its production. Simultaneously, the company was allowed to expand its Pune factory with no export conditions at all. This industrial decline collided with a massive human crisis. Millions of migrants crossed the new borders, but the federal response followed the same lopsided logic. Refugees from West Pakistan were provided with 70 lakh acres of farmland and 19 new industrial townships. In the east, migrants were funneled into makeshift camps and denied compensation, a decision the government justified through the Nehru-Liaquat Pact. By stripping geographic advantages, siphoning taxes, and withholding infrastructure, federal policies had effectively unmade the country's wealthiest state. These policies were not enacted in a vacuum. Why did West Bengal's political leaders permit the dismantling of their state's economic base? In the first decades after independence, the Congress Party controlled both the state and the central government. This double-engine model created a powerful incentive for state leaders to follow the ideological direction of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Local leaders prioritized party loyalty and national cohesion over regional security. They viewed the sacrifice of their geographic advantages as a patriotic duty. Because challenging the central line was branded as parochial, Bengal never formed the kind of unified political lobby seen in other states. Without a defense, industrial clusters and investments simply migrated elsewhere. This history suggests that political homogeneity can function like a blindfold. When party loyalty replaces regional vigilance, the wealth of a state becomes a national sacrifice, until that state has nothing left to give.